Everybody else at this station wants to take off 3 weeks a year. I mean, Jared Sandler, our next guest, this man takes off 6 months a year.
He does.
So I mean, I might as well get a weekend myself.
Well, he needs all the time off he can after watching USC play.
Oh gosh,
yeah, he needs all the time.
Yeah,
off.
what the hell's up with your defensive coordinator there, Sandler?
Bobby, it wasn't the defense on.
No, it was not
this past weekend.
It was not
defense
this last.
Was actually
game.
really good. It was the lack of ability to give Caleb Williams even half a second before he was running for his life.
This is a great note that I got from Pat Doney. He said that it's the rule of 42 with USC, that if they give up 42 points, then they lose. As long as it's 41 or fewer, they win. And so if they've given up 42 points, I think they're like 0 for their last 7. But even when they've given up like 41 twice and 38 and other stuff like that, as long as it's under 42, you guys are like 20-0.
Yeah, that should be a pretty easy bar to clear most weeks, right? But
Not with your coordinator.
This past Saturday, the defense I thought played their tails off, but they gave up, I think, one special teams touchdown, one defensive touchdown, and then I think there were 2 turnovers that allowed Notre Dame to start with the ball either just outside or inside the red zone. So not much the defense can do with that one. And definitely don't take 6 months out of the year, guys. And when you guys are enjoying your weekends, just know that little Jared over here doesn't have a weekend from mid-February until the end of the baseball season. So, I love all these couples dinners that I don't get to take part in and stuff like that. Yeah, no. You guys are right. I 6 months. It's a joke.
It's a joke.
I know.
The only people. Well, never mind. I'm not even going to make a.
The grind of a Major League Baseball media member. Oh,
I can only imagine what it's like to be a media member at the Rangers game. So.
Stop it. Okay.
Anyway, Jared, last night's game was just pretty disappointing. It felt like, I was talking to Chop about this earlier, 3-0 felt like just honestly insurmountable after the first inning. And then when you come back and you even it up and it feels like you've scaled them out, to just come right back out and give up the 4 runs, that felt like the game was kind of lost there in that 4th inning.
It definitely felt like that was, a big punch. I didn't think 3 was insurmountable. I said on G-Bag before, I thought there were going to be some runs in the game with the roof open, and Jose Urquidy, just not someone who really scared me too much, and they knocked him out in the 3rd. But to me, guys, the difference is this: in the 3rd inning, when the Rangers have runners at 1st and 2nd and 1 out, the Astros are able to turn to Ryan Stanek, who he wasn't great this year, but had a 1.15 ERA last year, throws 100 miles an hour. And then in the 9th inning, not that the game was hanging in the balance, with a 7-run lead, they go to Rafael Montero, who, if you just look at his regular season numbers, again, not good. If you look at his last 3 months, he was the Rafael Montero who the Astros signed to a 3-year, $21 million deal. Their bullpen depth, to me, was the separator yesterday. I think Cody Bradford's going to be a pretty good major league pitcher for several years. I think he's going to be a starter, though. I think in a perfect world, you're not turning to Cody Bradford to face Yordan Alvarez with the bases loaded and 1 out in the top of the 4th inning. You're turning to someone who, in that situation, might typically be a high leverage arm. But the Rangers, I think in the Bruce Bochy circle of trust, you've got 3 guys: Sborz, Leclerc, and Chapman, and everyone else falls varying degrees below that. And when you only have 3 guys, I think it makes it tougher to use maybe a Josh Sborz in that situation. Mm-hmm. Well, the Astros didn't have to use Presley Neris or Abreu in that moment because they still have Maton and Stanek and Montero, and these are guys who all played a pretty big part in them getting to and winning a World Series last year. So I think, to me, the big separator was the bullpen depth yesterday. But yeah, Bobby, you're right. I mean, the Rangers were constantly playing from behind multiple runs, and it's just tough to continue to have to overcome that sort of a deficit. And you go to the 5th or the 6th inning when they had a great opportunity against Hunter Brown, and Corey Seager hits that missile to Jose Abreu that ends up in a double play. Well, when you're only down a run, you're like, okay, that stinks. Let's get back after it next inning. When you're down 4 runs and that part of the lineup's not going to come back again for another couple innings, it feels really tough.
Yeah, what did you think on that play? 'Cause I mean, obviously that's the rule, like, the glove's part of the uniform, but I don't know if many people kind of realize that on social media.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen that before. First of all, and this is not like a necessary dig. Jose Abreu just does not move well at all these days. I was kind of surprised that he didn't have enough to get the glove on the body.
I know.
I know. He had Marcus Semien dead to rights there, and it was like he was moving in slow motion. Yeah, I mean, and the other bizarre thing there is it's not like he just got the batting glove. Like, he got one finger of the batting glove.
Yeah.
It's not like he swiped the whole, like, knuckle of the batting glove. Yeah, I guess that's the rule. I mean, it's crazy. So the rule specifically, I don't know if you guys heard Eric read it. I don't know if on TV.
I was at the game, Jared. I was at the game.
Oh, okay, my bad. Sorry, big spender over here.
Stop it.
If the equipment, if the piece of equipment is placed intentionally by the runner, then it is a part of the body. So Marcus Semien clearly placed the batting glove in his pocket intentionally in that way, right? So that becomes a part of the body. I've never seen that before. I would be very curious to see if anybody's batting gloves are hanging out of their backside pocket today when they're on the bases.
Wow, you think they may just tuck him in? Because we've seen was it Vogelback who leaves his batting gloves unbuckled, not unbuckled, but unstrapped when he's hitting, and he got hit by a pitch, and it just literally nicked the flap of the batting glove. That's the way he wears them.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I didn't. If that happened, I didn't see that. That's pretty interesting. That's also probably a once in a lifetime type occurrence. I mean, listen, I'm not saying. I want to just make what I just said clear. I'm not saying I can't believe these guys had their batting gloves out. If all these guys have their batting gloves out today, I'm not gonna. I mean, again, I've never seen this happen. I'm curious to see if we see that when guys are on the bases. But some guys, they've got like not just a batting glove, they got like lots of stuff in their back pocket sometimes these days. So again, I mean, I've never seen it before. It's a major stroke of bad luck, and it killed what could have been a really interesting rally to get the Rangers back in the game. We're
talking with Jared Sandler here on 105 Through the Fan. Jared, when you look at this game today, how critical is this? Obviously, like Chop and I have been talking about this. It feels like to us that these next 2 games, you may have to win this series in 6, because I just don't know that a game 7 in Houston is what you want to be running into. How critical is this specific game to just getting things back on track?
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you guys. And I don't think it's that. I don't think it's specifically, game 7 on the road, even though numbers for game 7s on the road, in all sports, right, tend to favor the home team. I think it's just you look at the pitching matchup that game. You got Christian Javier, who's been pitching so well of late. I imagine he would start. And then the Rangers, I mean, it would be Max Scherzer's turn. I'd be curious to see if that's what they do. I think it is. I think if Dunning and Heaney would have pitched well yesterday, I think maybe – you could have considered one or both of those guys and bring them back. I think both those guys would have to be a part of a game 7 in all likelihood. But maybe Scherzer starts and you're just opening up the fridge and throwing everything you can out there. But yeah, I mean, if you look at it, the Rangers have the pitching advantage in game 6 for sure.
Yeah.
I guess, how much stock you want to put in postseason Verlander. Maybe you say today's at worst a toss-up, but Montgomery outdueled Verlander and on his own accord, he's been really good in the postseason. So, yeah, I mean, you'd like to think you can come away with 1 win at home, and then I feel really good about things again. But, I feel good about Eovaldi and Fromber. I feel good about game 6. That doesn't mean that that's definitely going to play out favorably, but I feel really good about it. I feel great about Jordan Montgomery. I just respect playoff Verlander. I don't think he's as good as he used to be. You look at the numbers, they support that. but it's still a big-time postseason game. And so today's kind of a toss-up. And then I think that Game 7 just on paper favors the Astros. Now, we know that games don't always play out this way. So if you look at it, Game 6 favors the Rangers. Game 7, the Astros. Today's a toss-up. I think you'd feel really good if the Rangers can break this mini curse they have against the Astros in Arlington and go to Houston with 2 chances to win a series if one of those games is going to be started by Nathan Eovaldi.
So what was the plan last night with Heaney? That was a quick hook. What do you have? 22 pitches, which obviously shows that they didn't want. They knew they didn't want the momentum to fully shift. That's why they got him out of there. But was it 3 innings? That was probably about the plan. They go to Dunning for 3, and then the bullpen.
Yeah, I think something like that. I think they probably their hope was to get through the lineup 3 times with those 2 pitchers. And obviously they didn't quite do that. And it goes back to what we said at the very beginning. Now it's back-to-back games in which the Rangers starters haven't been able to go deep. And by starters, yesterday, I mean the combo of Heaney-Dunning, right? Not just Heaney. But that's where now your bullpen, you gotta be more than 3 deep, and that was a challenge. But I think with Heaney, they've let him pitch through those situations, but that was a big moment in the first inning where I think Bruce Bochy didn't want the deficit to get any greater. Jeremy Pena was the do batter when they went to Dane Dunning, and Pena hit .330 against lefties this year. So I think that's a big reason why he made the decision then. But I think the goal or the hope was to get either through the lineup 3 times or pretty close to it, which, yes, to your suggestion there, RJ, probably results in a combination of, somewhere between 5 and 6 innings between those 2.
Jared, when you look at this game, obviously, with these last 2, the Rangers dropping them, getting down early, and not being able to rally, do you expect any sort of lineup changes or any sort of tweaks today?
Yeah, I thought about that and brought it up on the post game. And, there's no one – sometimes, I'll look for, hey, is there someone who's really got an edge on Verlander or, whoever the pitcher is that day? And, some of the candidates for that 3 spot really don't. Mitch Garver's a candidate, but, he doesn't have a great run against Verlander. Nathaniel Lowe's been fine against Verlander, actually. I think he's 3 or 4 for 7. So I guess it's a possibility, although it seems like they're pretty comfortable with him hitting in the bottom of the order. Someone had mentioned Josh Young, and I don't love that, and it's nothing to do with Josh Young's history against Verlander, as brief as it is. But then you got your top 3 hitters as really aggressive hitters. And I think there is value in having that number 3 hitter be someone who, at least early on in the game, it can be patient. And Evan Carter brings that. Mitch Garver could bring that. But you got Simeon and Seager, who very well their at-bats could end after 2 or 3 combined pitches. And I just think there's value in spreading out that patience and mixing up approaches up and down the lineup. The guy who had success against Verlander, has had and had earlier this series is Leody Taveras. And Bruce Bochy did mention earlier this series, like, yeah, I did think about Leody. I don't think that's going to happen, but that would be the outside the box, probably not the odds-on favorite move that could surprise people. I got to believe there's going to be some sort of a move made in the lineup, not necessarily someone starting and someone sitting, but maybe a little bit of a shakeup. But yeah, Bobby, I think you're right. Just the lead into that question. The Rangers have been so good at the beginning of games this postseason. Coming into Game 3, they led their opponents 22-3 in the first 3 innings of games, and no team has lost the lead. Or no team has come back from a deficit and retaken the lead. The Rangers obviously tied up the game yesterday, but the home team has not led for a single second in the series, which is kind of crazy. It's never happened in an ALCS where a home team has not led at all in 5 straight games. So history is on the Rangers side. But yeah, getting off to a good start not only gets the crowd into it. I think the Astros have kind of killed the crowd each of the first 2 games of this return to Arlington. But it's just the Astros are a tough team against which to play from behind with their bullpen. So getting off to a good start, I think, is going to be huge. And maybe they do try and do something to the lineup or something to the aggression on the bases.
Before we get to Evan Carter, you mentioned the crowd. Was there Was there as many Ranger fans in Houston as it seems that there's Astro fans here? It seems like there's a ton of fans of these games. I know they all left Houston. They moved here.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, and I think there are two conversations here. I think there's the noise, and then there's the presence. Yeah, I think there were. So I think bright orange stands out, right? So I think one bright orange shirt seems like 10 bright orange shirts. I guess if I were to base it off of the most recent regular season series, you know, the one in which the Astros swept the Rangers, that felt like it was like 55-45 Rangers fans.
It's like a bowl game.
This feels – yeah. This feels way, 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 way more heavy Rangers fans. I don't think there are nearly as many Astros fans at these games than the regular season games. I would say I was pleasantly surprised by that. I just think that much like Game 2, in which it felt like the Rangers fans were way louder than the Astros fans with the 4 runs in the top of the first inning, as much as I'd love to sit here and say, hey, go watch a Phillies game, they are screaming at every pitch, and strike 2 in the second inning might sound like a 2-run home run. You know, they are alive, whether they're up 3 or down 3. That's a different beast. And we can hate on Philly all we want, but I don't think anyone would disagree. They've got, you know, a super, super passionate fan base. You get so amped up for a game, you're fired up, you're waving that rally towel, you're screaming to the top of your lungs, and the next thing you know, you're down 3-0. And I just think it's understandable. You know, fans aren't robots, and humans, they're dejected. And so I just think the crowd was a little quieter yesterday because they got down 3-0. And then it picked back up when Corey Seager hit the home run to tie it. But then Jose Abreu hits a 3-run home run, and that's deflating. So, you know, I would love for the crowd to be raucous and loud from start to finish, but I understand why, you know, when you fall behind by multiple runs and maybe you add in the context of here we go again type of feeling because it's the Astros in Arlington, I understand why it's a little dejected, and fans go from standing and cheering to sitting and biting their nails because they're nervous about a potential comeback.
Jared, I'll be there in attendance tonight. I've purchased tickets while we were on the air here, so I'm going to be there. I'm going to be loud. Do you think I should get myself kicked out of this game? Do you think I could be a rallying point for others in the stands if I say some just really awful things that get me kicked out?
I mean, it could be good content at 7:20 on Monday. What day of the week? Today's Friday, right?
Yep, it is.
Yeah, on Monday. So, you know, it's all, hey, if it's what's this for the boys?
Yeah,
right.
For the show. You know, if you're doing it for the show, I mean, why not? No, you know, I'd love to see Bobby as a streaker. I think that would be.
Oh yeah.
Not so much the body.
I bet you would.
What do you think? What do you think Bobby's Madden agility rating would be? I mean,
7.
Bobby would be totally straight line, right? There's no way he's putting any moves on anyone if he gets onto the field.
Bobby is one of the fastest walkers you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He swings his arms like nobody. Hey, Tolos, hit up Bobby's Venmo. Pay for his bail.
That's payola.
No.
Pay for his bail.
I'm not encouraging this.
I'm going to streak tonight. Now, what inning do you want it to be, Jared?
I want it to be after the Rangers win. How about that?
All right, fine. But I'm going to get myself kicked out.
It would be pretty funny. You know, it's crazy. Of all the things, like I've never had, like, never even the slightest desire to do that. It seems so miserable. It just does not seem worth it. But I think it would be funny if in another game, not a Rangers game.
If somebody asks me why I did it, I'm going to say Jared Sandler told me to.
No.
There you go.
But if someone did it after their team won and they try to get in the handshake line.
Oh, that'd be great. That would be great.
I don't understand. I don't understand what when the streakers like was it someone tried to get on the field and like hug Messi or whatever, like, but the people who just run around aimlessly, I don't what are you trying to accomplish? Like, I feel like there's got to be a goal here. But like to try and get in the handshake line, I think that would be kind of funny. And I'm always surprised that more people don't try and storm the field when a professional team wins, and you know they do the dog pile. But I'm glad that they don't, because for safety reasons, it is very good that people stay in the stands.
Sandler, enjoy the game this afternoon. Good luck to your Trojans against Utah.
Thank you. We need it because then is Cal, and then we got a gauntlet of Washington and Oregon, and we got no chance.
All right, very good. Young Jared Sandler.
See you guys.